What is up, everyone? It's your girl Tabs here with Keeping Tabs. Welcome to episode 10 of Keeping Tabs. After a big time week in WWE, we're going to go over the very obvious Wrestlepalooza, WWE's debut on ESPN for PLEs. We're going to talk about all the matches, and then we'll talk about some other major news that happened this week in WWE, Smackdown, NXT, little Monday Night Raw. So let's go ahead and jump on into it, and let's get going. So starting off with Wrestlepalooza, I'm going to go ahead and say it. If you paid $30 for that, I'm sorry. I am sorry. This Wrestlepalooza, WWE's debut on ESPN, I was a big letdown in my opinion. It was definitely very underwhelming. Triple H, you kept saying all these freaking surprises were going to happen and stuff. What surprises happened? What surprises? Like, I don't get it. I thought it was... Overall, I did not enjoy it very much. John Cena, Brock Lesnar was the first match, and from the get-go, I was a little, I mean, it really started pretty low for me, and it worked its way up for a little bit, but let's talk about just John Cena and Brock Lesnar real quick. Terrible mistake. Why in the hell is John Cena putting over Brock Lesnar this late in his career? I know it's his retirement tour, but like... oh, he's beat up, this is just like, he can't, he's a step behind, like he said, that's why he's retiring. But, like, it doesn't make sense. Nobody asked for this match, number one. Nobody wants Brock back, and if you want Brock back, I know where you lie. Overall, thought this was a terrible match, just a finisher fest of F5s, attitude adjustments. The absolute worst match out of John Cena's retirement tour, and the man faced Logan Paul. I'm a Logan hater, but that man at least put on a good match. This, terrible, especially to start Wrestlepalooza, the ESPN era for PLEs. I thought it was horrible. Next up, we had the Usos versus the Bron Brons with special guest referee LA Knight. Yeah! Once they announced that, I switched my predictions to the Bron Brons winning. I knew shenanigans were bound to happen. And this match is really kind of car crashy is how I always describe it. LA Knight being very lenient as the special guest referee. He's cool with Jimmy, not so much with Jay. He hates the Brons, but at the same time, it is what it is with that beef. So overall, that was an okay match. Definitely better from the first one. Jay Uso accidentally busting himself open because Braun Breaker's back is so freaking massive and muscular. Hits it, bounces back, hits him in the face, busts him open, and then Jay and Jimmy ended up getting speared into the table, and that's how they got the dub with the tsunami obviously on top. Overall, though, this match was pretty good. I think it's definitely setting up a more Jay and LA Knight feud going forward, which I'm definitely interested in. But I still want Jimmy to get him some singles gold potentially. So interested to see how this is going to play out. And after the Bron Brons, a.k.a. the Vision, stood tall, I think we need to put them legit put them in the tag team division and have them go on a title run, I think, because I think it's bound to happen with Seth holding the world title and then Becky with the IC title. Have the Bron Brons with the world tag team titles. That would look so good and really legitimize that, the Vision as a whole faction. The third match of the night was Io Sky versus Stephanie Vaquer for the vacant women's world title. This was a barn burner. This was an absolute technical, beautiful, chef's kiss type of match. These women put on a great show. Io Sky, Stephanie, just beautiful all around. They obviously have great chemistry. They have similar styles because of their time in Japan. And overall, again, really awesome. Stephanie Vaquer getting the win. I was so excited for her. I definitely shed a tear a little bit. Very well deserved. I think, they've been ready to strap the rocket on Stephanie and continue to push her. All she's done being in WWE is win. Win titles, and I think it's good that Io didn't get the title back because a lot of people get fatigued sometimes with people in the title scene too much, like Rhea, for example. It's kind of nice that Rhea's kind of outside the title picture right now, so Io not having the title, she can go back to her little thing with Asuka, Kairi, Rhea, whatever little things going on there. And then Vaquer has plenty of potential opponents now. So I'm excited to see what is going to happen with Miss Stephanie. And also had to mention having that awesome moment with her dad after celebrating, letting him hold the title up. Beautiful. That was probably my number one match, like technical wise. That was the best match. That's the best booking match that Triple H had of this PLE. And that's, there's only 2 really good matches on this PLE overall, in my opinion, and this is one of them. The next really great match that I believe on this PLE was the mixed tag team match of CM Punk, AJ Lee versus Seth Rollins and Becky Lynch. This match was absolutely incredible through and through. The storyline has been amazing. The lead up, the build up, just the feud in general, and then the addition of AJ Lee and Becky Lynch to this is just absolutely just chef's kiss. And this whole match, though, through and through, some great tag moves. Freaking AJ Lee stomping out Seth Rollins was an awesome moment. Her kicking out of the manhandle slam was cool. And then end up getting Becky Lynch to tap out with the Black Widow. And CM Punk was so happy afterwards. You could see how proud he was of AJ. I mean, AJ didn't look like she missed a beat, man. It's been 10 plus years since she's had a match. I think it was like March of 2020 or March of 2015 or something like that was her last match. She looked freaking amazing. She looked awesome, and Becky, hats off to you. You obviously are just such an incredible worker. Same with Seth. Great workers all around. Storyline, like overall, that was the best match of the night. Stephanie EO, best technical match. This was overall, I think, the best match of the night. And then, of course, the main event, Cody Rhodes defending his WWE title against Drew McIntyre. They've had a decent little build-up, not too much, but enough to make me intrigued. Drew McIntyre is very well deserving of another world title run, I believe. Just not yet, I do believe, as Cody did retain. I do love the way he is playing this heel character, this justified heel character, And I love how they try to redo that spot where he was going to claymore Cody's head through the announce table. After Cody pulling back, Drew playing into that kind of lower leg injury throughout, which led to Cody getting the victory. But overall, it was a pretty decent match. I don't think it was main event worthy, especially following CM Punk and AJ Lee's victory over Seth and Becky. That definitely, in my opinion, should have main evented. But it is what it is. Maybe Triple H will finally listen to the fans for once and listen to us, who we want as the main event. The reason I'm also a little disappointed of this main event is because there was nothing big that happened. There was no interferences, there was no title change. Overall, there was no big surprises throughout. Even like the John Cena match, there's nothing leading up to Crown Jewel now for him. So he's just going to get thrown in a random match. Is he going to have a rematch with Brock? I don't know. I feel like Wrestlepalooza didn't really set too much up in the future besides AJ Lee, Becky Lynch definitely having an IC title match. So overall, Wrestlepalooza was a big thumbs down for me. But I think it's definitely a lesson to be learned here, hopefully. Again, if you paid $30, I'm sorry. Before moving on, I do want to note a couple things. So obviously with Cody Rhodes retaining his WWE Championship, this is going to be setting up him and Seth Rollins as he is the World Heavyweight Champion, and they're going to face off at Crown Jewel in Perth. I did see rumors months ago that this wasn't going to happen, but now it is apparently happening again, so it is what it is, but this will be a decent match overall. They have really good history. Cody's kind of dominated their feud ever since he's returned to WWE, so interested to see how that is going to, play out and build to Crown Jewel in Perth. I do want to note that Stephanie McMahon was, asked to be in the 2026 Hall of Fame by The Undertaker last night in one of the little breaks in between the matches. So just wanted to know that. Congrats to Stephanie McMahon. Very well deserved. Obviously with Triple H leading last year's class and now Stephanie probably leading this year's class unless they do John Cena with her as well. So we'll have to see on that. Just thought that was a cool moment and I had to mention that. But let's talk about some other stuff going on in WWE this week. So we're going to talk about Friday Night Smackdown next up, guys. Obviously, we had the Brock Lesnar segment to start off where he freaking went to attack Michael Cole and then ended up getting Corey Graves and hitting him with some F5s. Not really too happy about that. I thought he was actually going to, address John Cena more than, doing something stupid. I thought it was a waste. I think Brock Lesnar's whole return has been a waste, and I'm not a fan of it. We did have a women's tag team championship match tonight. Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss versus the Secret Harvest of Chelsea Green and Alba Fire. Piper Niven is still out with an injury, so Chelsea Green stepping in. The champs retaining, per usual, because they are on fire lately. I really enjoy their little duo going on. And they really need a new opponent. They need to switch it up. They need to go to Monday Night Raw more often, because I feel like they have only really stayed on Smackdown or NXT. So I need a little bit more from them. Then there was an impromptu match between Fraxium and The Vision, as Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed were just looking to make some trouble and attacked Fraxium, and so setting up that match. I mean, it was a pretty decent match overall. I love Fraxium. They are two incredible people, Axiom and Nathan Fraser. Incredible athletes overall. Love them as a tag team. But of course, Braun and Bronson Reed stood tall as they did at Wrestlepalooza, so it was kind of good momentum for them going into that Saturday. Up, we had Sami Zayn versus Carmelo Hayes in another U.S. Open Challenge. Sami Zayn, I just absolutely love that he's carrying on this U.S. Open Challenge. He's already had 3 defenses in just under a month. Carmelo Hayes, a great young talent. I do believe he will eventually take the title off of Sami or get that U.S. title within the next probably year or so. So, great match, but of course Sami retaining, and he'll obviously continue on this Open Challenge. We did learn that Tiffany Stratton, the WWE Women's Champion, will be defending that title next week on Friday Night Smackdown versus Nia Jax and Jade Cargill. Obviously, it was a double countout last week in that championship match against Jade, and then Nia Jax coming out and beating up both of them. I really wish this could have been at Wrestlepalooza, but I think the reports saying that Tiffy had a concussion, like a legit concussion, so I respect that. Makes sense. You got to be careful on that. But we will see that championship match on SmackDown next week, so interested to see how this is going to play out. Are they going to continue riding with Tiffany Stratton, or are they going to switch it up, going back to Nia, or letting Jade finally get that title? Then, of course, the ending of SmackDown was the Cody Rhodes, Drew McIntyre contract signing, which we've already talked about their match at WrestlePalooza, so don't really need to talk about this much. But pretty good words back and forth. I definitely see this feud continuing and potentially, obviously, adding Randy Orton. I thought he was going to come out on SmackDown, but he didn't. So interested to see if he's going to get inserted in any way. But I'm definitely interested in a Cody and McIntyre, give me, 2 to 3 more matches potentially. And then I really want to talk about NXT Homecoming real quick, because it was just an absolute banger of a show. NXT is obviously one of my favorite shows to watch every week. They're so consistent. Shawn Michaels, you do an incredible, incredible job. But that night at NXT Homecoming, they went back to Full Sail University, where the OG NXT Black and Gold was filmed. So it was pretty nostalgic. Triple H, of course, kicking off the show, as he used to always do when he was over that creative process back in NXT when it first started. Him and Shawn had this really weird moment, and then freaking William Regal coming out to do the War Games voice. It was all kind of weird, but it led right into the first match, where the NXT Women's Champions came out. Alexa Bliss, Charlotte Flair, they were defending against Izzy Dane and Tatum Paxley, which of course they retained. Another tag team matchup was Trick Williams, the TNA World Champion, reuniting with Carmelo Hayes. Trick Mello Gang back together versus DIY. They've kind of been building up to this the last 2 to 3 weeks, and it was a decent match overall. And surprisingly, Trick Mello Gang got the dub. I really thought DIY was going to win. But it was a pretty cool thing to see Trick Mello Gang back together in NXT. It was a bumping night overall, but they got some great pops. And again, they got the dub. And then we had Ethan Page and Tyler Breeze for the NXT North American Championship. It was pretty random, but is what it is. Pretty decent match. Ethan Page retaining very easily, but we will have him and Tavian Heights for that NXT Championship, or the NXT North American Championship at No Mercy, which I believe my boy Tavian is going to get that title. The Grayson Waller effect did its way back to NXT, where Obafemi and Ricky Saints were the 2 guests as they lead up to their NXT title match at No Mercy. And of course, the main event of the night was a 6-women tag. Rhea Ripley, Lyra Valkyria, who was replacing injured Tiffany Stratton, and Stephanie Valkyrie, so all the big baby faces, versus Fallon Henley, JC Jane, and Jasmine Nix of Fatal Influence. Great overall match. I really enjoyed this main event. And of course, the baby faces of Rhea, Valkyrie, and Valkyrie getting the dub. overall, pretty good week in WWE. I will say again, Wrestlepalooza wasn't my absolutely favorite thing, but still some good moments throughout the week. The women's division has been carrying this entire company, in my opinion, and I think that's gonna continue on because some of the stuff they're doing with Triple H and some of this, like the Brock stuff, I don't know. And y'all charging people $30 for PLEs is, y'all gotta step it up, in my opinion. But looking forward to NXT's No Mercy coming up next weekend on the 27th, so make sure y'all are tuning in to that. We got Monday Night Raw tomorrow, the fallout of Wrestlepalooza, so make sure you guys are tuning in. As always, I appreciate all y'all's support, everything that you do. Like, comment, share my stuff out. I always appreciate it. And make sure you're following me on my other platforms, especially TikTok. That's where I post my daily videos, all my daily opinions on everything. Overall, though, thank you for joining. And as always, don't forget to be keeping tabs.